So I'm only sorry I don't have any product to demonstrate here. I would say it's really more economics than game theory is the motivation. One of the first lessons we teach people in economics is the notion of declining marginal utility. So a little bit of salt adds flavor. The next bit adds not quite as much, and by the time you've put too much salt in, you've ruined things. First pair of shoes prevents your feet from getting cut. The second pair might be a pair of running shoes. By the time you've had 1,000 pair of shoes, that next pair you don't get to wear very often isn't worth as much. Well, maybe that example is a bad one for half your audience. And the same thing is true of sugar. And what was peculiar to me is that the beverages that were out there were either 0 calories, so many calories that they were liquid sugar, or sweetened to the point with artificial. And if I said to you, look, I want you to cook me a dinner, but you're not allowed to use any calories, so I don't know what you give me, a leather belt, and I said, oh, well, guess what? You can now add some garlic, some onions, some lemon, maybe even ketchup. Boy, for 20 calories, you can get a whole lot more flavor going on here. And the notion that somehow you wouldn't want to create a beverage that had 20 to 40 calories as being the sort of sensible product. The first little bits of sugar take away bitterness and add a little bit of flavor and then kind of stop. And I didn't understand why those beverages didn't exist in the world. When people go to a restaurant, they tend to put 0, 1, or 2 teaspoons of sugar into their tea, not 12. And so with a former student, Seth Goldman, we created a company to create normal beverages. And that's what led to Honest Tea. Another insight was that the cost of ingredients is really the smallest part of what's going on here. If I wanted to sell an empty bottle of tea with a label and a cap and the glass bottle in the case, sent to the store through the distribution network, it'll probably cost me 80 cents to get that bottle of air onto the shelf. Now, if I put the basically crap in there that many other people fill their bottles with, it cost me under a penny. But I could put really good tea in there for 5 cents. So between 80 cents and 84 cents, sort of the extra 4 cents, it's not a big difference in terms of total cost, but we're spending 5 times the amount on the ingredients you care about. And it turns out you can taste the difference. And so people are often focused on sort of the parts of the cost that they can control. And that's why they substitute high fructose corn syrup for sugar, because it's cheaper. But in the end, that's a tiny fraction of the total cost customers are spending. And so for really very little extra, you can make it taste a whole lot better. And customers seem to be going along with that. We're the #1 organic tea now in the United States, and we're growing at just about 100%. In February, Coca-Cola invested and bought 40% of the company. We're continuing to control it, and things are going well. I was in India writing a case study on Tata, the leading industrialist in India. One was a case study was on the car parts business, and one was on an old business, and just happened to be tea. I had no particular knowledge or interest in that. And as part of doing my research, I went to a tea auction. And I realized that I could tell the difference between great tea and bad tea. I couldn't tell if I used wine as the example, Kendall Jackson from Stag's Leap. But I could tell the two of them from Boone's Farm or Two Buck Chuck. And I realized that we were drinking the equivalent of Two Buck Chuck or worse, as opposed to the Kendall Jacksons of tea. And even if I, as a non-connoisseur, could tell the difference, and the good tea was 5 cents rather than 1 cent, well, then this was a real opportunity to create a new type of beverage in the United States. Tea could be the next coffee. If you like, just like Starbucks did for coffee, we could do for tea. Now, it turned out that Tata was interested in exporting its tea outside of India. And nowadays, a few people are hearing of Tata, now that Tata's bought Jaguar and Tata Consultants. But 10 years ago, not very many people knew of Tata outside of India. And so I thought that Tata needed to come up with a name to represent what it stood for rather than Tata. And so I thought, well, okay, it's tea. This is reliable. It's trustworthy. They should call themselves Honest Tea outside of India. We went to trademark the name. It was blocked initially by Nestle because we had one tea, and so Honest Tea was Ho Nest Tea. And we explained we weren't particularly interested in the Ho market, but in the end we changed things to add an extra T in a space, and so it became Honest Tea. And that was really the better decision anyway, because really we're beyond tea. We have kids' beverages, we have honest bars. We're really the honest food company. And when it comes down to it, when you sell a product that somebody puts in their body, trust is about the most important thing that you can offer. And we like to think that we're doing business in a way that people can trust what we're up to. And that's resonating with customers.